Hi, welcome to the breadboard. We have another mailbag from an unexpected helper for my Trident build. It's from a company called JLCMC. You may have heard of them, or at least almost everybody online in electronics has heard of JLC PCB. Or JLC 3D for 3D printing. They've recently, a few months back, opened another division called JLCMC for mechanical components. They reached out to me a few weeks back and offered to get a whole bunch of parts from them, and the only thing I had to do was show off the parts when they arrive. So what I did was I emailed them back and said, yeah, sure, I'll be interested. And when I had a scan through their website, I noticed that they actually had a Trident frame, 2020 extrusions. They actually had not just a Trident, but an R2, a Zero. Basically, all of the different Voron builds were available, and they were available at an extremely good price, and all the different sizes, so 250, 300, 350. So I thought, excellent. So what I have here, and we'll go through them both. This bigger one is slightly different. This is the frame. I have never even opened it up yet. So aside from checking that it's not damaged, I haven't even pulled them out yet. This one is full of nuts, bolts, and screws and things like that. And they also sent me some fans. Now I did the shopping. I went onto their online website. I'll put some pictures up on here. I'm not going to go through everything they sell, but basically, linear rails, nuts, bolts, screws, bearings, fans, a little bit of pneumatics, a small amount of electronic stuff. Now, they don't have everything for Voron printers. A lot of the bearings and things you need for Voron, they don't have. If they did, I would have got them. But what I did do is I got a 300mm Trident frame from them, which is here. And I got pretty much every single nut, bolt, and washer and things that you need to do a Trident and or Voron build. All in stainless steel, all nice and shiny, etc. So I'm going to be using these for my Trident build, which I'll be starting real soon. So let's start with the accessories pack, which has got all the nuts, bolts, screws, and things like that. So first thing here is I got a half a dozen fans. These are 6060s for the electronics bay. They didn't have the smaller ones. These are all 2 wires, which is all you need anyway. They're not terminated, which is fine because we're going to be terminating them ourselves anyway. So nuts, bolts, screws. So let's have a look. Let's just separate these because I'm not going to go through every single one. And I think the biggest thing I found in here was they had the roll-in T-nuts. So I got a boatload of M3 for 2020s, and I got those are the M3s. So I think there is what have we got here, 300. So those are 300 of them. We've got about 250, I think, no, 200 of the M5 ones. They just all drop in. These are a matter of cents each. They are ridiculously cheap. I think the one thing that JLCMC has done on their site is they haven't just bundled shipping and buried it in the price of everything. So, and we'll have a look at that when we come to the frame and things too. But all of these components, all right, they're all like a penny each. Sorry, 1 cent. I guess penny if you're in the UK or whatever. They're ridiculously cheap, so you can get a whole pile of them, like 300 of these, and it's only costing you a few dollars. Okay, so I went through the materials list for a Voron Trident 300 and a Voron 2.4 R2 350. I guess it doesn't matter for either of those how many screws you need, give or take a few. So, and I added them all up. I added a few extras just in case there were any issues with a few of them, and just added it to my order. And then a few nuts, and as I said, I added the fans in there as well, and the frame. And I think the whole lot, including the frame, came to $140 or something like that. You can check them out for yourself. But the one thing that kind of changed the price a lot was the shipping, because just the frame alone, the frame was not even $30. It's a 2020 frame, just like you'd pay everywhere else over $120, $150 for. But it was only like $20, $30 for the frame. But they kept the shipping at probably the realistic price. But their price of all these parts were crazily low. If you go to Amazon and look for these, you're paying a fortune for them. And even at AliExpress, you're paying a lot of money for them because the shipping and everything is built into all of them. So when I saw the prices that they had, it was awesome. Now, obviously, I was fortunate they gave me some gift cards to help out to pay for everything, or most everything. I did have a little bit of duties and a little bit of excess, so I went over my budget that they had given me. Really easy to pay for, and they're expanding their line of a lot more things. So these are all the nuts, bolts, screws, and everything else. Like I said, I'm not going to have a close look at every single one of them. All hex, quantity 50, S1, M5, length 30 millimeter. So they're all individually packaged. They probably weigh them out, if truth be known, but most companies are pretty efficient at doing that. So JLCMC. These are all the nuts, bolts, and screws. They look like they're all very good quality. I don't see any bits of shavings floating around in the bags from manufacturing or anything like that. So yeah, let's get to the bit that you're probably more interested in. One thing to bear in mind, that lot's heavy. It's very heavy. I don't know if the weight is written on here or not. 9.5 kilograms. So, you're shipping it from overseas, it's not going to be cheap. So, as I said, the more you get, the cheaper relatively per weight it's going to become. Anyway, this is the bit that I'm more interested in. It's the Trident frame for a 300 millimeter Trident. Now, I think it's all drilled and tapped. It's definitely all cut to lengths. And I think they've drilled the blind holes. As you can see, I haven't even took the tape off yet. At less than 30 bucks or around 30 bucks for them, you can't really complain. Well, they're definitely drilled. At least they're drilled through for the blind joints and everything. Looking at these, I see absolutely no sign of shavings or anything in here. Not a one. Oh, there's a lot of saran wrap on here. I'm just about to take the saran wrap off them. Every single extrusion is individually wrapped. They are all drilled and tapped. I haven't done an inventory yet. I've just brought up the Voron Trident spec for a 300 millimeter, which I'm just going to quickly go through it. I'll put it on the screen so you can see. So yeah, I'm going to take some saran off of these and have a closer look, and then I'll be right back. Okay, finally got that done. As you can see here, I've got them all laid out. These are the 500 millimeters. I've got a printout of my bill of materials here. So we should have 4 at 500, which we do. And I've measured them, and I cannot even see a fraction of a millimeter out on them. I've got the 420s times 9, 420 times 1, and which has got tapped, and then a 420 without tapping on the ends. 380, 330, 290, 282. So yeah, the sizing for all of is absolutely spot on. I checked the ends, and they are absolutely nice and square. The cuts are great. I found with all the drilling of the ends and the tapping and cutting and everything else, I found one burr that was not detached. It was just on one of the holes, and it just needed a flick and it came off. So a couple of things to point out that I have observed here. There's no scratches on any of this. Looks like they've been very well cut. They've been very well packaged and shipped out. They all look perfectly straight to me. But when I was looking at the profile of these, I noticed that they are not what I initially thought. So let me just bring up the website a minute. Let's just go into the Trident 300. This is the one that I've got. Okay, so it's M5 threaded. Surface finish is black anodized sandblasted. And for one of them, it's $23. Ships within a day. Yeah, a little bit less if you buy more of them. That's shipped to United States of America. Now what I'm looking for is a picture of the extrusion. It's somewhere in here. Oh, here we go. It was showing me the extrusion. So here's the picture of the extrusion, the end profile. So what you can see here is you've got these little notches, right? You've got your, everything is perfect for a 2020 extrusion except these 1/2 millimeter little notches when you compare it to the Misumi extrusions. Now when I first saw this and I was speaking to JLCMC, I mentioned about these notches that are not in the Misumis. And when I look at the extrusions that I have in front of me, they do not have the notches in them. The width for the Misumis is 6 millimeters, and these 1/2 millimeter notches are not on them. When I look at the profiles that have been sent to me, all right, you can see here they do not have the notches. So whether I'd never seen any of these before physically in my hands, I just went off the picture that was on the website. As you saw, it shows the notches, but these ones that have shown up do not have the notches. And if I measure the size of the holes, 6.2, 6. Well, get it square, 6.2. So they're slightly oversized, but they do not have the notches, which is awesome because it means that the linear rails, when I put them on, is going to fit properly. With the notches in, it leaves very, very little surface for the edges of a 9 millimeter. This is 9 millimeter extrusion. So when it sits on here, it's going to sit on nice and easily because it's not going to drop through the holes. The other extrusions that I had the little notches on, and these, if you weren't very, very careful or had supports in the grooves, would drop either side into the hole, made it very hard to get a good alignment. But I can tell you, based on all, and I've checked every single one of these, none of them have those notches, which is great for mounting the MGN9H linear rails onto them. So it's going to work. So anyway, this is the complete set of Trident 300 extrusion. And as you saw in the earlier part of the video, I've got all the nuts and bolts and everything else to put this together. So anyway, if you're in the market for a 3D printer frame, or a few of them even, then check it out. You might find that it is a good place to get them from. And as you can see here, these are all excellent quality from what I can see. Flat as anything, no twists that I've been able to detect, square ends, no swarf, well wrapped for shipping, etc. Individually wrapped, every single one of them. Very, very happy to see what the quality is that these have come. Next thing is to put them together and see how well the frame goes together. Anyway, I'll leave it at that for this video, and we will see you in the next one.